This episode of Financial Literacy for Beginners, we're going to find out what's important. Cue the intro. All right. So most of us, we have kind of what we call an internal clock about when we want to do things or want to achieve things. And as we get older, this clock, goes in hyperdrive. It becomes more and more heightened, more in tune with, hey, I only have this much time to get from here to here. And we start to make decisions based on that internal clock of things. One of the things that really helps to navigate that, or really helps to put us in a place where we can make the right decisions about that, is really understanding what's important in our lives, really understanding what we really care about. What do we really care about? What are the things that really make us tick in terms of importance and where we want to put most of our time, what eggs we want to put in those baskets. And it takes some of us a longer time to get to thinking about that than others, or getting to a place where we take that seriously. But when we get there, we pretty much all approach it the same way. We get to that point of, oh my God, I need to make this amount of money to get to this particular thing that I want to do in my life, or I need to start taking my career seriously, or I need to, start taking my health seriously. So we start to get to that point of wanting to make those decisions. But at the core of those decisions, it's really driven by what we care about, what's important to us. And, if you can really define that, if you can start to define that early, if you can start to define those things early, it takes you a long way to really getting to the result of that, because you start to make decisions from a place of knowledge and power, instead of making decisions from a place of what if and, how. I'm not saying that we always have to know exactly where we're going all the time, because I think, there's a danger in that as well, because, uncharted waters sometimes are the most exciting and, the most fulfilling if you are able to, imagine yourself as something else, and that come to fruition, and use your imagination in that way can be very fulfilling in life. But I think most times for most people, without having a navigable plan or a navigable, decision-making mechanism and process in place, it allows for so much mischief to happen in our lives. And I think, it's one of those things that really begins to hinder us as we begin to try to achieve some of those things that we want to achieve, whether that be our financial freedom or, our health goals or what have you. So how do we get there? How do we truly start to unravel the mystery of what's important to us in our lives? A lot of people may say, well, I already know what's important to me. I already know what's important. It's my job, and it's my income, or, my kids, my wife, my friends. All these things are things that may be important to you. But sometimes there is a deeper desire or a deeper purpose that sometimes is right under the surface that we're missing out on, that we don't really see, but it's affecting how we feel. So I want to share with you some of the ways that help me get to the point of understanding what's important for me. So the first thing that I did, and I kind of learned this through working through a workshop with someone else, is I wrote down a list of my wants and my needs. Just 2 columns, a list of wants and needs. And, this list doesn't have to be long, doesn't have to be short. It can be as many things as you can think of that are important to you. Really write down those things. And once you have that list, I want you to start ranking those in level of importance. Rank those things like, here are the things that I know I need in my life. And you start ranking those in terms of what thing first. The first thing I need is this. The last thing I need is this. Same with your wants. The first thing that I want is this, and the last thing that I want is this. And what you'll find is those things that are at the top of the list, those 3 things at the top of the list, those are the things that really are driving the most of your decisions. They're really driving the most of your decisions on your wants and your needs. So those top 3 things on your wants and your needs list really drive 90% of your decision making. They really have a huge impact on what you are thinking about most of the time and what you are trying to achieve in your life. So once you determine what those are, you can begin to really chip away at how do I really get to the things that really matter to me if those things are not being addressed. And 9 times out of 10, there are things on those lists that aren't being addressed. They're just kind of there as I wish, or I really want to get to a place where I can do this, or this is a necessity, but I'm oftentimes lacking in this area. You have to be able to get to a place where you can have not a mindset of lack around those things, but a mindset of abundance around those things. And that is the shift. That is the shift that really helps you get the things that are important to you and put them in a place where they're attainable. And once you get to that place, a lot of things will change for you in your life when you can put those things that are important to you in front of you and say, okay, this is attainable for me, and I'm able to put these things in perspective. I have peace, I have solace around those things that are important to me. It really opens you up to grow in a lot of areas. I know oftentimes a lot of people, those things, that's not the case. A lot of times that's not the case for people. They may have things that they really need or want in their lives that just aren't there. They're just not even a possibility in their mind, a possibility of them attaining. And, that's a really hard thing or a hard pill to swallow day in and day out. So I think it's important that we first define what those things are. And once we define what they are, we can put in perspective of how we can attain those things and have an abundance mindset around those things, because that is the true shift of really putting you in the right state of mind to achieve it. I hope this has been extremely helpful for someone. And until we talk again, I wish you health, wealth, and freedom.